Do you have any pets that live at your house? What if they ran away or were stolen? Even worse, what if you found out that someone had abused them or were seriously injured and they passed away? Animals cannot speak and ask you to stop what you're doing. We must be respectful to animals in all aspects of life. I will be covering the number of animals being killed, animal experimentation, animal trapping, the five freedoms, and animal rights philosophy. Every year, we kill more than 56 billion farm animals, with 10 billion slaughtered in the U.S. alone, according to Animal Rights Movement. This number doesn't include fish and other sea life, where the numbers harvested are so large that they're usually measured in tons. The Animal and Plant Inspection Services report that 20 million animals are used in the United States research laboratories annually. Not all of this research is even health related. A section of the cosmetics industry still tests its products on animals. This number doesn't include the tens of millions of rats and mice used in labs. The APHIS does not require their numbers to be reported because the United States Animal Welfare Act does not cover rodents. Only 5 states require veterinarians to report animal fighting or other forms of animal mistreatment. One of the most controversial topics is, should animals be used to test certain drugs, makeup products, and many other things? Disagreement with the practice is based on both scientific and ethical grounds, and it varies both according to species and according to purpose. Research uses primates, monkeys, cats, and dogs are particularly controversial. Cosmetic testings on animals are controversial because many consider the benefit of yet another cosmetic product to be of dubious value when weighed against animals' interests. Although cosmetics testing on animals remains legal in the United States, it has been banned in several countries, including the UK and the European Union. They began phasing it out in 2009. Some object to the use of animals in education, asserting that such use encourages the view of that animals are objects to be manipulated rather than being deserving of compassion or respect. A chief moral concern raised in regard to animal testing is the pain and suffering it involves. Supporters are specifically concerned with the use of animals for medical and cosmetic testing, the killing of animals for furs, hunting for pleasure, and the raising of livestock in restrictive or inhumane quarters, so-called factory farming. Concern for inhumane treatment of animals has led many supporters of the movement to advocate vegetarianism. Many hunters trap animals simply because they want to eat them or because they don't want them on their yard because they mess up the yard work that they do. I found one extremely good reason why trapping these animals should be stopped or it needs to be revised somehow, in some way. The equipment used in trapping fur bears offers evidence of extreme harm and suffering, yet it has been standard practice for hundreds of years. Steel jaw traps, for instance, are particularly cruel when used underwater. They will actually drown the animals. When it is used on land, the steel jaw trap will kill the animals from injury or exposure, or a predator will kill them because they can't escape the trap. Returning to the research carried out for the drafting of the Agreement on International Humane Trapping Standards, there are clear indications from the trapped animal behavior and physical states that they are suffering. Self-mutilation and unresponsiveness and restraining traps are some of the behavioral indicators. Physical indicators appear below. The fractures, joint luxations proximal to the carpus or tarsus, several of the tendons or ligaments, major periosteal abrasion, severe external hemorrhage or hemorrhage into an internal cavity, major skeletal muscle degeneration, limb ischemia, fracture of a permanent tooth exposing pulp cavity, ocular damage including corneal laceration, spinal cord injury, several internal organ damage, myocardial degeneration, amputation, and death. As it is clear from all of those descriptions, trapping does not always result in the immediate death of a fur bear. In fact, from the standards established, it is acceptable for to trap an animal to suffer from such injuries for up to 5 whole minutes. This means coyotes, wolves, bears, bobcats, river otters, Canadian lynxes, Eurasian lynxes, fishers, badgers, raccoon dogs, Muskrats and raccoons can be left in traps and pain with fatal injuries for 5 whole minutes, and this is presuming that the trapper is nearby. In reality, it might take more than 5 minutes for these animals to succumb to their injuries in the event that the trapper is not in the vicinity. The 5 freedoms is common to a large number of mainstream welfare organizations worldwide, including the RSPCA in Australia and the United Kingdom. The Animal Welfare Institute is in the U.S., but not the Humane Society, the World Organization for Animal Health, as well as the World Society for the Protection of Animals, who make references to them in the draft text for a UN Declaration on the Welfare of Animals. The 5 freedoms are freedom from hunger and thirst, freedom from discomfort, freedom from pain, injury, or disease, freedom to express normal behavior, and the last one, freedom from fear and distress. The animal rights philosophy covers a wide range of beliefs, from simple interest in the welfare of companion animals such as cats and dogs, to the stance that all animals should be left in nature and beyond the reach of human interference. Among the most common concerns of animal rights activists are the use of animals as a source of food and the use of animals in biomedical research and education. Activists also stage protests against the fur industry, zoos, circuses, the pet industry, and hunting. Some animal rights activists seek allies within certain environmentalist groups that share a similar counterculture philosophy, but many environment-oriented organizations reject the core contents of animal rights purists, as they believe that the human use of animals serves the perfection of nature food chains and ecosystem management. For many people faced with a legal situation involving a companion animal, it comes as a shock to discover that the laws protecting their families, neighbors, and friends from violence and abuse fail to protect their four-legged loved ones. Despite the important role that they play in so many of our lives, animals in this country are still considered property by law, in most cases no different than a table or a chair. Existing laws are often inadequate, full of loopholes, or lack enforcement. There are still states where no matter how badly someone abuses or tortures an animal, he cannot be charged with a felony. The Federal Animal Welfare Act explicitly excludes birds, rats, and mice, and there are no federal laws protecting the billions of animals being raised for food from the most egregious abuses on a factory farm. To sum it all up, animals deserve to have freedom and to live their own lives. Us humans need to wake up and realize how many animals are being killed and how distraughtful it really is to see all of this happen. And we need to put a stop to animal cruelty and animal experimentation.